So you live alone?
Yes.
You think I'm pretty?
I know, gorgeous.
Come to me. When was the last time you touched someone? You don't want to wake up, do you?
Wow, that heir to Stanley Kubrick comment was pretty complimentary from LA Weekly. Nice for Jonathan Glazer, boy. He should laminate that and stick it on the front of his desk or in any scripts he sends out in the future. Is it just, kissing up from LA Weekly? No, I don't think so. I think this does have definite Kubrick fingerprints all over it. And it's hard to duplicate Kubrick, without seeming like you're just trying to duplicate Kubrick. Say that like 5 times fast. But I think that it looks like there's some genuine artistry going on here, and that Glazer has an actual voice. It's not just an homage to Kubrick. So I find that interesting. Now, that said, though, Kubrick is, to me at least, hit or miss, and he's always been hit or miss with the mainstream movie-going public. Of course, I think The Shining is the most well-known, popular film of his. I love it. I think it's really good. And perhaps 2001: A Space Odyssey, although I wonder how many people have heard of it versus how many people have actually sat through the entire thing. It's a little difficult. And that's just me coming as a more, narrative-based moviegoer. I like those kind of films more than this more experimental film. But still, it has its audience. So I think there will definitely be people who are interested in this. So I don't know if I could maybe make myself sit through this whole thing if it wasn't, for the sake of reviewing it or checking it out for work. I think purely as a moviegoer, it might be difficult. I would find it difficult. However, I'm always a fan of whenever anybody's trying to do something new and exciting. So kudos to this film on that regard. Now, whether or not it's successful, we'll have to see. But also, the other thing I wanted to comment on is that I think it's great that Scarlett Johansson, so early on in her career, well, I guess she started pretty early, but, so young in her life, is working hard to reinvent herself. Often actors don't do that until they're really struggling. Like, look at Matthew McConaughey. He's now in his mid-40s and having to, reinvent himself. And Robert De Niro, very late in his career. Meryl Streep. It's usually when actors are like in their 50s or late 40s, 50s, 60s that you see themselves really, going for broke because they need to. But Scarlett Johansson doesn't need to. She's doing very well in Hollywood, especially, I guess, because she's a part of the Avengers franchise. That's really upped her profile significantly. She was in Her. Still not a big box office draw on her own yet. But I think she's definitely getting work, and she's definitely, I think, at the top of a lot of people's lists for who they want to cast. But still, so she doesn't need to take a risk like this. So I commend her for wanting to reinvent herself and try and have a little more artistic credibility. Now, I also have to add, though, that I'm a little disappointed that she continues to try and play off of this initial sex symbol image that she got when she first started out. I think that's really not, I've talked about this before. I feel that really limits who can be a fan of an actress when she goes for the sex symbol route. Unless Marilyn Monroe kind of made herself a sex symbol caricature, and she was just so far from someone who would actually exist in real life, kind of like Harley Quinn, that, she almost became just like a guide for women, being like, well, men could say she looked great, and women would watch her and go, oh, these are great fashion tips and makeup tips. She was almost like a doll. So I think that's why it worked there. But in general, when you're trying to just be like the really sexy actress, you really are limiting your fan base. And as I've said before also, there was a really great article in Newsweek when Halle Berry was in the Catwoman film that you have a very short window of time when you're at the top in that game as well. Because new is always the sexiest, so you're easily replaced. And I also feel I'm not so happy that she's focusing on the sex symbol aspects of her persona here, because I thought she moved away from that in the Avengers. I was really happy that despite maybe some of the marketing, overall in the role, she has really played it straight. She has not tried to make Black Widow be just the sex symbol of the Avengers, but an actual functioning, contributing team member. And that was something I really enjoyed about her performance. And I hope that continues, because I think that that's rare for any female character in genre films. And she's a step forward for that. So I don't want to see her backslide by being like, oh, I'm an alien on Earth in this cool artsy movie, but of course, I'm the sexy alien. I mean, is this just like the artistic version of Species? That would be disappointing. But anyway, they have piqued my interest, and I like that they're trying to do something new here. So a lot of respect to Johansson and Glazer, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it, even though I might end up turning it off partly halfway through. All right, so what do you guys think? Do you see, signs of Kubrick here? Do you feel that this guy, do you think it's over-complimentary to say that he's the heir of Kubrick, or do you feel that maybe he is? And what do you think of Scarlett Johansson? Do you think do you like her taking on this kind of role? And how do you feel? Do you want to see her keep that sexiness that's been a part of her career in the beginning? And I think part of the reason she wasn't so successful at first, or do you like that maybe, she's going off into more fully realized roles, and is this a step back? Or maybe this is just the mid-step as she makes that transition. So write your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning into my trailer review, and you can check out some more episodes right now.